Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's tutorial. I'm going to be working with the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Ancestry collection, and we're going to make 6 pages. I am going to use everything that I'm showing on the screen here except the layered chipboard stickers. I did buy them with the intentions of using them, and I started putting my pages together, and I believe it was like probably the 4th page or 5th page that I had worked on, and I realized I didn't use any of it, and I just decided at that point that I was just gonna go ahead and not even use it, so that if there's anyone following along in this video, that they wouldn't have to purchase it or think that they needed it just for one item. So I'm probably just gonna put it aside and use it for something else at some point. There is 12 pattern papers, and then I got the coordinating cardstock, and there is 6 pages of the coordinating cardstock that came in that separate paper pack, and we need 2 accent papers and 6 background papers, so for a total of 8 pattern papers, and then we'll need all 6 sheets of our cardstock as well. I would have used journaling cards on the pages, but I ended up liking the backgrounds too much, and I definitely needed the backgrounds on my pages. And I ended up going with that plaid striped paper as an accent, along with those clocks as well. They did contrast each other enough that I could use them on pages together if I wanted to, and they would coordinate with all of my background pages. The cardstock is all sort of regal kind of colors, and there's some flower print, and then there's also like this paper. I didn't really love this paper because it had like real faces on it, like real portraits of and real old looks to them, and I didn't like that. I felt like it would take away from someone's pictures that they're actually using. Like, I wouldn't want someone to look at that paper and be like, oh, who is this in the background paper, and be like, oh, actually that's just the print of the paper, that's not actually anyone in my family. I just think it would take away from what you're trying to do there. So I went with more subtle backgrounds. So they definitely still have some color, but they don't really have any defining character. Okay, so for my final 10 by 10 cutout piece of cardstock here, I actually screwed up cutting it so bad that I ended up having to completely take a new paper to use in its place. So I actually used this pattern paper that was kind of a more neutral but still solid enough of a pattern that I would be able to use it with the other papers that I have, and it would still look like a solid enough color behind my photo as a photo mat. So you don't have to do what I did, but I had to do it out of necessity because I didn't have any spare cardstock and because I needed to replace the paper that I screwed up cutting. And so here I was playing around with the background and I decided that I liked this background that had the image towards the left hand side. What I went ahead and did though is I swapped out my 12 by 12 border piece because I felt like the way that it was initially, it blended in too much with the border around the whole page and it just didn't stand out enough. And so I swapped in a different 12 by 12 1-inch border to be the same color as this dark piece of cardstock that I have as the accent cardstock on the rest of the page, and I think it just ties the page in much nicer together, and the colors just worked out way better. And I swapped it out with this paper. So this cream colored 12 by 12 1-inch border piece was actually supposed to be for the other paper, but it works out really nicely on this green background paper as well. So it kind of worked out for the best that we swapped them out. I love these heavy chipboard frames that you can buy as a piece, a coordinating collection piece. And here I decided, I almost left it with 3 of them in a row here. I think it would have been it would have drew your eye to it for sure on the page, just because it's a different shape. And if you have a lot of photos to work with, you could definitely use them in a linear way like that and fill photos in those areas. But I decided to cut mine apart and only use a couple of them and use them with one of these pre-arranged cluster pieces. I'm a really big fan of those pre-arranged clusters. I think that they make pages super fast. I love that Simple Stories does those. And I always buy the 12 by 12 sheet of those clustered stickers like that. And I decided just to make the texture of that chipboard along with that sticker sort of play together and work together and create some layering and creating a few more photo areas at the bottom that way. I only wanted 1 extra photo on this layout, so I went ahead and put a piece of cardstock in the other one and then layered on top of it just some wording. My camera, it like didn't catch all of that. I got a phone call and I shoot everything on my iPhone, and when someone calls me, it like stops the video from recording, and I just totally didn't realize that it happened, and so I lost some of my footage. But you can definitely see how the page finished off in the still pictures. Some of these pages were really fast to work with, and they came together really easily. Here I wanted to keep everything for the most part like that sort of mustardy yellow kind of a color. I thought that family wording really played with the background really nicely. And I just kind of framed everything around the photo areas on this page. As you can see, the cat's popping in and out of the camera on this side. I made him a little bed beside my area so he would leave me alone. And he like literally slept there the entire day. So yeah, he hung out with me all day, but it was I think I figured out a way to keep him out of the videos for the most part. So yeah, my helper was snoozing today for sure. So here I decided to use these chipboard frames again. They just make the page have such depth, and they're so easy to work with. I just love them. So here I took this huge clustered element, and it's really a long piece. It's almost 12 by 12, and I just cut it in strategic places that felt like, you know, you could naturally cut them, and I ended up sort of eliminating this butterfly that's on it just as a transition point to cut them and separate them. And it just broke up the element a little bit and created some unity on the page. thank you guys so much for watching this week. We will see you in a couple weeks with another video. Sorry about the last few weeks. The videos have been kind of off schedule. The post office put my parcel in the wrong box number, and there was some confusion with my parcel, and I usually try to order probably at least 6 videos worth of material at once, just because the shipping is like a lot of money. So yeah, I definitely fell behind in what I wanted to do with some of my videos and stuff, but hopefully we're on track now, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend.